Come hear the life-giving teaching of the Honorable Silas Muhammad, the spiritual son of Master Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, delivered by Minister/Senator Ahmed Sadiq.
That I see, or that I saw. So one of the strategies was to get you alone, and as we get you along, it's easier at that point to extract you from point A to point B. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to the devil, what? It was a few of these United States. And who would that information have been attracted to anyway? Lost Foundation of Islam Muslims and those that have like minds. More than likely, it wouldn't have been all 22 million of our people at that time that would have went. Perchance, a nice number of our people would have been in that situation. And in that situation, it's easier for us to remove you from the imminent doom of the United States of America. You understand that? America's going to be destroyed regardless of whether I'm standing here or not. The United States of America is going to be physically removed from the planet Earth. Right? Not because I said it, even though I agree wholeheartedly with it. With everything, I agree with it because of what the United States of America represents to the original man. It's because of what the white man represents to every black man and woman on the face of the earth. He's always been bad for you. He's always been a nemesis to you. He's always been a thorn in your side. And then somebody said, well, you made him. I take credit for that. We did make it. So when I get ready to do what I'm ready to do to something I made, then you keep your mouth out of it. That's right. You didn't think it. Almighty God, Master, we all honor and praises forever and ever. We forever thank Master Farad Muhammad, and we will forever thank and sing the praises of Master Farad Muhammad and teach our children's children to sing the praises of Almighty God of our Master Farad Muhammad. For coming to us, finding us, and raising up in our midst the last and greatest messenger of Allah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah forever be upon his holy name, as he was totally committed to your freedom. Hardworking, dedicated, remained on his post until he could no longer stay with us. And it was also in the name of our Lord and Savior, the Honorable Silas Muhammad, which we would not be talking about Master Farad Muhammad or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad if it was not for the Honorable Silas Muhammad. We need to make that clear. All of these, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad pronouncing every syllable in his name. You need to pay some homage, give some praise and some thanks to that man. It's a historical fact. So it is, and their three great and holy names, and on behalf of our dearly beloved Queen, Ashaki Muhammad, which I really have to get you to the point to where you know, understand, and appreciate Ashaki Muhammad. Really, you do. So it is, and there are three great and holy names, and on behalf of the monarch, that I greet you and I let you greet you with the peace of As-salam. This is for us. This is like if we're moving in steps. This is for us another step. And it's a journey of 1,000 miles. Start with one step. This is another step towards exit. Me personally, you know how you told somebody something, you've given information, and they, I know. Well, it's like, well, ain't no need for me to even talk to you anymore because you know. So me personally, sometimes I feel like, I don't know if you all remember that old TV show called Kung Fu, where that man ran a little sack and put it over his shoulder and just started walking. Because I know what's coming. It is out of my love for you and my commitment to you that I'm hanging around with you. but it's not because I in the least bit doubt that the Master Farad Muhammad gave to the Honorable Elijah escape to avoid an unpleasant and or a dangerous situation. It's one of the definitions. And that is exactly what we will have to do. We will have to escape the planning of governments of the Caucasian world, led by Great Britain, enforced by the United States of America. They plan on, it's already in motion, starting the last war, which you hear, knowing that Master Farad Muhammad told them that the only reason why America is still here is because you haven't heard. Brandon was one of the first people, well, really, it's been in my head and in my spirit for a while, just examine. You know, you do receive thoughts. You can receive communication, and it doesn't have to be us sitting in front of one another. Just like this phone. When this phone gets a signal, you don't see the signal, but you have to acknowledge the fact that the phone did receive a signal because there's a text message or a ring. So the phone is letting you know that something hit me and you didn't even see it. A human being designed this phone. So if a human being is that advanced where you can design a particular machine to send something through the air and touch it, I can't have my mind and touch you without physically saying something to you? Right? Sure I can. Sure I can communicate with you like that. And sometimes when I'm engaged in conversation, I try my best to kind of sort of, you know, just not say certain things because, you know, it can be inappropriate sometimes to say certain things and or not inappropriate, but just not the right time to say certain things. So we were engaged in conversation, and sometimes when I have a conversation, I might turn the radio up, or I might get into a situation to where you can't really detect what it is I'm saying because the environment doesn't give you an opportunity to focus in. And our sisters, we have to give them a lot of credit because they are thinkers. You know, the woman is the man's helpmate. She was put here to help you in any way that you can. And I'll be talking certain times, and I wear those who know me Monday through maybe Thursday. I wear overalls, and I have my phone right here in the front of my overalls, and I'm talking. And my wife said that phone is just like a mic, so it's like you talking right into the mic. So I heeded that advice, set the phone down, and we had a conversation. You know, but we don't have any secrets. By the way, this is not a secret society where, you know, no, we're told to teach you this publicly. It's just that we're understanding that this is war and that certain strategies are enacted in order to win war. Do you hear me? And the element of surprise is typically what wins. Doing what a person thought that you wasn't going to do, being where a person thought that you were not going to be, and or in certain cases, saying certain things the person did not think that you were going to say. At any rate, Master Farad Muhammad, along with the 24 scientists, will master strategies. The whole strategy was to get you out unscathed, untouched, and not being hurt. That was the strategy, to escape, right? To avoid an unpleasant and or dangerous situation. So how do we do it? Well, we mapped out certain things, sitting under the table talking, just like we're talking, men, certain women, and there are women on the mother plane too. Believe you me when I tell you. Don't just think it's all brothers up there, right? I'm telling you, that's a hell of a component that you got right there. You know, I'm thinking about teaching Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got 2.0. I really am. I mean, I'm very impressed, you know, I mean, with our sisters. I told Brother Brandon, I said, Sister Shalonda, so I've never met Sister Clara Muhammad. I've just heard about her mind, her thinking, and the way she was. I said, Sister Shalonda got the same spirit as Sister Clara Muhammad. Because on last week when it was hot, and some of us were thinking about avoiding the situation. Some of us are thinking about, it's too hot, I can't come down. Sister said, what? I'll get you some fans like they had in the church and put the Savior face on the fans. And I wasn't even thinking along those lines. You understand? That kind of mind is what's necessary in order to build it. Because that's the don't quit for mentality that you're going to have in order to get this done. And that's what I heard when I heard that statement. As opposed, oh, it was so hot in there, I was hot too. I sweated out my suit. You know if you can see sweat coming through my suit, I just sweated out my t-shirt and my white shirt too, right? But it's all right. I sweat out my overall suit on my brother. Sweat them out. Go right on back to work. At any rate, one of the strategies, and I'm only mentioning this to you now because it's safe and it's my mind. Do you hear me? This is my mind. Why do I have to say that? Because somebody who may get the information here, or somebody may get the information via YouTube or via Zoom, and they didn't say that Master Farad Muhammad said, the Savior said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, no. This is Minister Ahmed Sadiq giving an observation of a situation and information that I have, and then giving my observation on what it is that I see or that I saw. So one of the strategies was to get you alone, and as we get you along, it's easier at that point to extract you from point A to point B without having to go in and out and in between the enemy and collect you that way. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to the devil, what? Give us a few of these United States. And who would that information have been attracted to anyway? Lost Foundation of Islam Muslims and those that have like minds. More than likely, it wouldn't have been all 22 million of our people at that time that would have went. Perchance, a nice number of our people would have been in that situation. And in that situation, it's easier for us to remove you from the imminent doom of the United States of America. Do you understand that? America is going to be destroyed regardless of whether I'm standing here or not. The United States of America is going to be physically removed from the planet Earth. Right? Not because I said it, even though I agree wholeheartedly with it. With everything, I agree with it because of what the United States of America represents to the original man. It's because of what the white man represents to every black man and woman on the face of the earth. He's always been bad for you. He's always been a nemesis to you. He's always been a thorn in your side. And then somebody said, well, you made him. I take credit for that. We did make it. So when I get ready to do what I'm ready to do to something I made, then you keep your mouth out of it. That's right. You didn't think about that part of it. You made it. Yeah, I sure did. And I'm gonna get rid of it. How about that? Right. So to put you in an isolated situation and to remove you from that situation is a lot smoother as opposed to how you are now. Now you're interlaced, you're interlocked with Caucasian people. Some of us stay in the suburbs. Some of us stay in the city. Some of us are right in the spot where those 3 bombs are going to be dropped. I don't know if you heard. You are directly in the spot where those 3, they're not all going to be dropped in the same spot, but you're in those vicinities. And when that bomb goes into the earth, it goes into the earth for 1 mile. Do you hear me? And it's going to destroy everything, what? Within a 50-mile radius. Do you hear me? And any life that's left on top, poisonous gas, is to come out and snuff out any life that's left on top. That's a video game to you? That's not real to you? We were told if they start to use poisonous gas on you, then we'll create a corridor that will keep the gas outside and keep you on the other side. That's against a video game to you? You can't fathom that? Look up on your smartphone right now and see that in the United States of America just give Russia anti-radiation missiles So when these missiles go and explode and stop the radiation from coming over to Ukraine, Master Farad Muhammad been told us about it, right? But you were doubting Thomas, right? You want to keep on playing. I want to put that stick on my back, Sister Shalon, and keep on going. And don't look back. That's right. But it's out of my love and care and dedication for you that I hang around a little bit longer if it pleases Allah. So that strategy, your enemy heard that and said, You think I'm gonna let them get to themselves when I understand that the whole reason that I'm still here is because of them? Right. And enemy said, no. In fact, I'm gonna let them niggas come and integrate. Don't separate it. Come a little closer. Get a little farther in. Get real cozy. Yeah. But they plan, and Allah make a plan, and Allah is the best of plans. Right. The whole thing was planned for you while you were sleeping. So now you're inside of what the Holy Quran described as that moment to where you're on the brink of fire. It's right here on your heels. It's on us now. And they're not going, well, they'll tell you if you're listening, but they know there's so many distractions, and that in order to cope with your day-to-day life, you got to take sedatives. Some of us smoke a little marijuana. Some of us drink a little liquor. Some of us do a little cocaine. Some of us do a lot of cocaine. Some of us do a little heroin. Some of us eat. Whatever it is to get you to make it from one moment to the next. You do those things because your reality isn't free. And this is the way you cope with it. Some of us even sing songs. Some of us go to church. The church music is a sedative to a degree. You can be going through something, you down on your luck, and you get to, and especially if they can sing. I got a cousin named Kai that can sing. Not sing, but sing. Boy, she get to going into that. All of my good days outweigh my bad days. I won't complain. I'll be sitting back there about to cry. Yeah, she sang that good. Stood my wife about the seat one day in front of the whole audience when we did the inauguration ball. She sang Jill Scott's song with no music and blew the roof off the house. This brother spot. We got it on tape. So, but those are things to help you to cope with your situation because it's really not a good situation. So, to separate you would have been the ideal situation to get you out of the way, to get you in a few of these states, and then have you extracted from point A to point B. Your nemesis, you know, this rascal is doing a few things that, you know, it's not really a surprise. Like, wow, I didn't intend on him doing that. You don't believe me? Unlock the hidden wisdom that's inside the lessons. What did Master Farad Muhammad try to do when he first got here with us? He tried to communicate with us with what? With our own language, didn't he? Then after trying to communicate us with our own language and realize that you were not in possession of your own language, what did he say? Come on, Muslim scholars, what did he say? What did he say?
You gotta die.
No. Well, that too. Definitely that too. But what did he say, Brother Captain?
Said they weren't supposed to take their life.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, these are the ABCs for those of us that I got some seasoned veterans in here. He said he was supposed to make you a slave, all right, but he was not supposed to take your language. So now this thing that we made is acting up. You know how Eagle Eye, you know, the thing was made to do one thing, and or iRobot. It was made to do one thing, and all of a sudden, when you get ready, you don't supposed to have any emotions. And Will Smith got ready to shoot the iRobot. He peeked his head out and he didn't want to die. What you know about dying? The thing doing something different than what I intended for it to do. You know, in my own personal case, Brother Derek, I had a beehive, and I wanted to get rid of the beehive. So, I took 2 gallons of gas. I probably only needed a cap full. I took 2 gallons of gas and dumped it on the wood. Set the wood on fire. Oof. I said, man, I wanted to burn it, but I ain't intended for it to fall. Fire department came out, neighbor running with fire extinguishers, the whole block looking at it. I said, I ain't want all this to happen. I just want to get rid of the bees. It's the same thing with this person that we're dealing with. Things that we're saying, well, we didn't intend for you to do that, but in as much as you're doing it, now you got to realize the reason why we call you the white boy. We don't say that to make fun of him. But if you've only been here for 6,000 years, and we've been here for greater than 76 trillion years, I'm within my rights to call you a boy if you're the baby on the planet. If you're the last person on the planet. If you're on the porch, you can't come off the porch, and I can come off the porch and play and do everything. I'm within my rights. So don't take offense to that, because that's the truth. But at any rate, now we've gotten to a point to where he believes, he thinks that he's outsmarted God. Because what he wants to do is hold you hostage while he starts the war, then started the war. And by holding you hostage while he starts the war, now he's saying, you can't bomb and destroy me utterly. You can't really, not really, send that 8.5 earthquake like you want to, because you'll kill your own people. You can't really send that outbreak of tornadoes like you want to, because you'll kill your own people. You can't really flood the United States of America like you really got in mind that you'll kill and destroy your own people. In other words, you can't get to me without destroying the prize or harming the prize. That's his plan. So he's kicked that wall. It's on right now. It has already started. But I got news for you. I have news for you as our people. You're playing at the wrong time. You're playing at the wrong time. You don't want to get into the thinking of God. You don't want to get into the punishment and the chastisement of Allah. That's a dangerous spot to be. In fact, sometimes if you do get into it and Allah allow you to share that mindset with him, your whole day will be thrown off. Trust me when I tell you. You know what my wife tells me? You always unhappy. You always mad. You don't know it, but you always mad. Just a very little, boom, there you go. Well, she wasn't the first one that told me that. My therapist told me that. My physical therapist told me that. He was massaging me. He was a healer named Master Mo. And after he got done with his session, I said up, he said, I said, how you doing, Master Mo? I'm doing good. Master Mo said, you got a lot of anger inside of you. I wouldn't tell him off. I said, how do you figure that out? And I do. But what do I suppose to be when I'm held behind enemy lines? And this man is spreading the very existence of my women and my children. I'm supposed to be happy. You think it's time to play? You think it's time for games? The man already shown you that he's trying to corrupt you to the point where nobody else wants you. Who you attracted to running around as a man dressed as a woman, and vice versa? Who you attracted running around with tattoos on your face, braids all in your hair, your pants hanging down? You look like a clown. You look like an idiot. You're going reverse. You're going backwards. You look like you just got that some slave yesterday and you don't know what a belt is. Back then, they didn't give you no belt. You had a sack around your waist and a string you tied up and your pants sagged in. And you telling me you look attractive to who? Who want to be around you? You don't even want to be around you. How do I know? Because when you get X amount of dollars, what you do, you leave the black community, you move to the suburbs. Is that not the truth? Why? Because you know that you can't stand being around you because what? One of them niggas will break in my house. Yeah, they will. One of them niggas will steal my car. Yeah, they will. One of them niggas running here with my women and my children with the assault rifle layers down. Yes, they will. I was on 80th and Dante the other day. And as I'm on 80th and Dante, I'm looking at the black community, and I had to ride from there to 100 and something. And the further I got south, where white people were, the more civilized it was, the more calmer the environment was. And when I'm right there on 80th, I see buildings and I see bars on the side of the window. I said to myself, that's a fire hazard. If a fire breaks out and you're barred, even if it's from the inside, but from the outside, how you gonna get out that window? So are the people thinking in terms of fire hazard? Or they thinking in terms of trying to what, save themselves from their own neighborhood. That's how you live. You got bars up, you got pit bull, you got AK-47, you got Draco, and people still coming in there if they find out you got something. So you don't want to be around you. What makes you think white people want to be around you? What makes you think civilized Africans want to be around you? My brother's incarcerated. Love Orthodox Islam. Every time he called me, he wanted to talk to me about the Quran and the Deen. I had to tell him, brother, I'm not a religious person like that. I'm a freedom fighter fighting for the lives of our people. I'm not trying to get into the Arab culture and get into the Salat and the Deen. And no, sir. You need to get out of here first. Then we can do our culture thing. That's right. Then we can determine how we're going to set up the school system for our women and children. But right now, you're behind enemy lines. You don't think so? I guarantee you, old proverb says, this will let you know when you're at war. In times of peace, fathers bury, in times of peace, the son bury the father. In times of war, the father bury the son. What's happening right now? What's happening right now? Fathers are burying these. So what time are you in there? War. And we're trying to escape. I'm trying to get you to escape. Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us what he was doing. Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't just speaking from himself. He told you, I'm the messenger of Almighty God Allah. Master Farad Muhammad told you what? There's 24 scientists that's prepared me, that sent me to come and get you. This information is universally known now that you were that last member and you've been found. You have to return home. Once the white man heard that, all of a sudden now, he got you closer to him, didn't he? All of a sudden, he pulled us so close. You can marry my daughter, you can be with my son, you can every working off the building. But at first, I couldn't even drink out of the same water fountain you drink out of. Huh? At first, you turn around and told and still today that your dog got more privileges than a black man. That's still today. Some of them let their dogs come into my yard and relieve themselves. And I'm looking at the white guy with his dog relieving himself. And he's turning around looking at me as if I'm in the wrong. Man, hold on. You're not paying to stay at this particular piece of property. If you go get you a dog, you need to have a space for your dog to relieve itself, period. One of them I told, I said, man, don't let your dog use the washroom in my grass. You know what he told me? Yeah, right, buddy, tell it to the dog. Okay. Okay. I got to be a little bit more civilized than what I would have been back in the day, because I'd have been like, you really want me to tell it to the dog, kick the dog? Now I'm going to jail for hurting the dog, and this man got all kind of emotional distress, and he wanted to sue me because he can't sleep at night because the dog won't sleep. And $10 million because I kicked the dog. Luckily, I didn't kick his dog, but I wanted to. So heading out, going out, escaping is the moments that you're inside of now. He has started war with Russia. And starting war with Russia don't just mean that he started war with Russia. It's actually, for all express purposes, and I'm gonna show it to you today, the black world versus the white world coming to a head. It just so happened that Allah is the best of planner and is using Russia to spearhead it. But I guarantee you, when I'm done today, you'll be able to see it clearly. The black world versus the white world, and the black world is saying to the scientists, we probably can't hold this thing off for another day or two. It's not plausible for us to do it. It really isn't. And you're telling me that we're holding it up because of who? Because the black man, woman, and child in America. Have they not heard? Have they not been warned sufficiently enough? Do they not know? And now are they turning a deaf ear to what it is that we told them, just like the people of Noah, just like the people of Lot, just like as the Bible quotes the people were when they went Moses' time, which is really us in fulfillment of that role. Are you doing that? Sure you are. Sure you are. Go to the first video. I'm gonna let you get a messenger explain it, then expound on it. And then I'll show you the white world versus the black world. I'll show you how you are inside of a moment and the very least amount of friction. You're looking at that blue sky today, There'll be a sky full with flaming fire in the next few hours. White people know it. I'm not lying to you. And not only do they know it, they're preparing for it. See, when it can be proven, when it can be proven that you've already been told, you don't have an excuse now. Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave this message. He hadn't been with us for 40 plus years.
Doom of any people according to the history of the past, who will, after knowledge of the truth, willfully ignore the truth and follow.
Stop it. See if you can just see if you can turn it up a little more. Because I want you to hear what he said. He said, it's the doom of any people who will willingly after knowledge. But where you at? Am I talking to you before knowledge or am I talking to you after knowledge? Where you at? You're in the after knowledge phase, aren't you? And after knowledge, these people did what? Willingly. Well, what are you doing? What are we doing as a people? Almost can't even get a word out when I start teaching with certain people because they know it all. Kevin Gates, oh no, so they got it wrong when they said nigga, nigga really means power and strength. So can't even get a word out when they start busting rhymes. You'll see what was happening, right? When ODB, when the God began to spit the knowledge and the God was starting to build the original man, the Asiatic black man. See, we talk about the solar system, like solar system. It was spelled S-U-N, but the white people made it S-O-N. And this is in a drink champs. So y'all know. In fact, Busta Rhymes and Rick Ross made a song called Master Farad Muhammad. So you can't tell me this ain't the after knowledge phase. This is the after. So what happens after that? If you ignore. So you ain't got an excuse anymore saying I lied. You know. And you just want me to show you. We'll show you.
It is the doom of any people according to the history of the past, who will, after knowledge of the truth, willfully ignore the truth and follow the falsehood of that people.
It's the doom of you. If you ignore the truth and follow the falsehood of the people, what are you doing? Y'all, and when lesbian, gay, bisexual, homosexual, tranny crazy, then lost your mind. And you know better. I know some of us know better because some of you all were raised in the church. But now you've turned the church into the very place where you can launch your gay program from. One preacher turned around and said, oh, y'all say y'all don't want to deal with gay people? Well, then stop singing songs in the choir. If you found out how many gay people actually wrote those songs. T.D. Jakes, well, the church on homosexuality, what's happening is that we've evolved and we're still evolving. All of them are not the same. Okay, so Jay-Z, one of the things that I found to be the most profound is when my mother found real love, when I just was like, wow, and just for another human being to love no matter what. Growing up hip hop, then the hallway, Master P, a young dude kisses another dude, and another guy said to him, it's not what you saw. Then all on your little social media, right? All on your little TikTok and your little Twitter and your little short videos and little short clips. And every man needs to be with a woman that's so that's gay. Every feed you. After God himself, Almighty God Allah, and came to this earth and made himself known. What are you doing? You willfully rejecting the judgment of the Almighty God Allah after knowledge. You don't do that and get away with it. I promise you that. You don't do that and get away with it. You think you're getting away with it. What you're doing is destroying yourself and your future generations. I guarantee you that. Your kids will not get an opportunity to grow up in this filth. I guarantee you that. Your grandchildren will not live in the utopia. I guarantee. You don't think white folks know that? Man, these people aren't stupid. They started that war over there with Russia because they were told now is a better time than any time to start it right now while we still got these people in America. Because in the event that they leave, then there's no holds barred. they can open up on us from any angle. So keep them there as a hostage, keep them there as a prey, and make them think, make them believe that they're enjoying some type of freedom. Make them believe that they're enjoying some type of heaven. Make them believe that we've included them, even though when you do the numbers and the statistics, you know that that's not true. You know that you're not equal to Caucasian people. You know, even if you got a good job, most of us are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being broke, homeless, and out of doors. You know that. Miss one payment on that house and see if they don't drop your credit score. I done paid for 7 years straight. I missed one payment and I dropped down. Yeah, nigga, that's the way the game go. Huh? You think I ain't set it up like that? As I said to Brandon earlier, you gonna tell me about the wrong I did. Nigga, I'm the one that wrote the book. Not telling me nothing new about me doing you wrong. So what? Now what you gonna do? Yeah, that's his attitude. Now, yeah, I'm doing you wrong. And y'all can read, y'all can write, y'all got bachelors, y'all got master's degrees. Now what you gonna do? And that's when God turned around and said, well, as my man said, I'll be your huckleberry. Now ask me what I'm gonna do. Ask me what I'm doing. As they say, run and tell that. The minister said, yeah, the minister said that God is after this person. I guarantee you after him. And he turned around, he doing one of these numbers with us. And in one movie I saw, in order to get rid of him, it was Speed that turned around and said, what? Shoot the hostage. What that mean? I might have to hurt some of you. I'm telling you the truth. I might have to hurt some of you in order to get to him.
That's right.
And willing to do that. Because you believe it's a game and not war. See, you don't know what the war looked like. That's what I was trying to explain on last week when we had some type of technical interruptions. What does the war look like? Inside of the war, what weapons would we use? Rain, hail, snow, earth. So when you see these things taking place, Las Vegas flooding, that's part of the war. When you see these things taking place, Kentucky getting the flood that they ain't saw in 100 years, that's part of the war. When you see these things taking place, forest fires inside of Los Angeles, water and fire running side by side, that's part of the war. That's God releasing his weapons on his enemy. And you think it's just a regular rain cloud. That's what they thought in the days of Noah too, but it was the end. And when they went in and closed that door, no matter what man, no matter what woman, no matter what children came to that door, what was Noah's instructions? Don't open the door. You might as well go into the middle of the ship so you don't get them crying while we drown them. Because you might get a little sensitive and try to open. Yeah. So I'm gonna send some of y'all to the middle because you probably can't take what's coming next. I'm born for it. It's what I do. So yes, wife, I'm an angry human being with no apologies. The hell with the white man.
That's right.
And anybody that love white people. See, because you're part of the reason why some of them in Arabia right now when we ran them out of Arabia. With your sensitive self. You're gonna hire some of them women, you're gonna hire some of them children. And now look at what the hell you got in Arabia. You can't even go to your own home and be respected. That's why Abraham set the black stone up there as a reminder of who that belongs to, who the earth belongs to, what we're doing here. You're gonna turn around and tell me where I can't go? I'm gonna knock your head off and stomp your gums at you now. That's God talking, that ain't me. I'm a nice person. Spirit of Allah is true. Allah is a warrior from the beginning, from the inception. Proved that he was a warrior when he was in total darkness. And he went to war with the total darkness to start lighting up the universe. That's right. Yeah, man, that's what this is about. And who knows what I'll do after I free you. I might get a chance to go somewhere and sit on the beach and retire. More from the video.
Life is doomed for total destruction. It was so with the people of Noah. It was so with the people of Lot. It was so with the people of Moses, Pharaoh, and his people. It was there a judgment set between Moses' people and Pharaoh that is made so clear. As a sign for you and me here today, we are under a hard master, a master unwilling to give justice to us, a master that is unwilling to even let you go free for yourself to do something for your answer. This you know, bear me witness or not. Heaven bears me witness. The so-called American Negro, for 100 years, up from slavery, the slave master's children who say they are free, meaning the Negroes, but yet are not willing to give them justice, even in their courts, not willing to provide them with something to go for themselves. He holds them here as a prey. This is.
What is he holding you as? A prey. Do you hear it? He holds them here as a prey. Because he heard Master Farad Muhammad when Master Farad Muhammad said, the only reason why I ain't destroyed you is because you got them. And they went and sat back and talked. The Pope, the Queen of England, there's the big new Brzezinski's, the think tank in the United States of America, the black man that they've hired to sit inside of the white room and tell them how we think and how we feel and what you should do. Oh, well, you know, yeah, well, that's just those lost foundation of Islam Muslims. That's those radical ones. But the average black Christian, all they want is a home and something to eat, and they're fine. If you give them a baseball game and give them, believe me when I've saw some of them, black as they want to be, married to a white woman. And I said, if he walked in the temple, I'd just be telling him, teaching him everything. And he'd go right back up in there with that white woman and say, well, bear me witness, brother. Bear me witness, brother. One of them that I didn't even, one of them that when I, how you doing, brother? One of them that I didn't even know was married to when his wife. I said, I'm like, you know, and they guess what I said then. I said, why the brother always gonna get them ugly? You know what I'm saying? I said, they go get the one that, you know, that look like Boy George. You know, then they had the nose job, and you know, I was like, I said, I don't know, it must be she gotta get them credit. He can get whatever he wants. He had a nice car in the driveway, he was in the house, so I guess, you know, but at any rate, got distracted just thinking about her face just threw me all the way off. I'm sorry. At any rate, had he came and he was on some you know, some brother talk with me, you know. So had he came and said, I've been not knowing that he's going home to report to Pharaoh's, right? Would have surprised me if I told him, oh yeah, come on out. Bring your wife with you. And she was trying to get in here, now that it's no, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't know. You know, I didn't have an idea that you were. So at any rate, they know that they're holding you as a prey. You don't know. Do you hear me? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad mentioned it to you that they're holding you as prey. Do you hear me? A little bit further, play a little bit more. Listen to it. He's going to say it again.
Stand here as a prey. This is true and it's clear as sunshine. The white man holds the Negro as a prey, refuse to provide a way for him to leave.
Stop. The white man holds you as a prey, refuse to provide a way for you to leave. Because he well understands, in order for you to be repatriated with your people, that's a process. That first you have to have a name. First you have to be a government or non-governmental organization. Then your human rights have to be given to you. Then your people have to agree where you're going to go and where you're going to fit. Then we have to talk about autonomy. What does that mean? That we're inside of your government, your country, but we want to govern ourselves. We're not going to violate any of your rules, your laws, but at the same time, we want our own rules, our own laws. We want to be left alone to grow and develop as an independent nation, as an independent people. Yes, sir. Has he ever done that before? He did it for the Jews over there inside of Palestine. Didn't they sit down, the League of Nations sat down at the table? Didn't he have Great Britain, one of the great minds, William Balfour, from the Balfour Declaration, to determine, hold on, y'all need more than just the land. Because if you're inside of these people's country, who's gonna protect you? So you need a military. Then if something take place, you need to have strategic access to the water, because they cut the water off on the Palestinians, because the lake want to come into. You need to have strategic access to the airports. Just set it up to where they were well protected. And then did what? Then turn around and gave them a nuclear weapon as a deterrent. Didn't they do that? So they well know what it takes in order to repatriate you back into a people. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, well, they refuse to do that. They hold, you know what it is to be a prey? Do you know what that is? When somebody holding you as a prey? The power's not in your hand. You either predator or prey. So are you the predator in this situation, or are you the prey? Understand that. Please understand that. And stop coming to me talking foolishness. Oh yeah, you know, I'm the so-and-so, you know what I'm saying? I'm a 30 degree, you know, and I got this and that, you know, and we were here before the white man came to America. You know what I'm saying? The Moors was here, the black man, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you, fool, this our land. And then when you get done talking, you go get in your modern car, you go to his gas station, you go to his grocery store, you go to his job, you're part of his gun, it's his. All you're doing is running your mouth. So all you're doing is talking, wasting my time. And I'm tired of you, I'm tired of hearing that talk. What you gonna do about it, black man? What you gonna do, brother? When you gonna stand up? Yeah, right. As one of the rappers said, some of y'all need to pull your skirt down because you ain't gonna do nothing. The baddest man in the United States of America is the Honorable Silas Muhammad. That's right. And that's based on his actions, not what's coming out of his mouth. Because there's been a whole lot of there's women and children in the room, so I'm trying to think of an appropriate term. But you get my drift. And no action behind it. You gotta put some, you gotta know exactly where to hit this. You know, when David fought against Goliath, they talked about that David picked up 5 smooth stones. And one of the preachers said, well, why would David pick up 5 smooth stones if David was being directed by God, by Allah? And if Allah is accurate, he should have only used 1 stone. But then they went and did further retrospect and reading the book and said that there was 4 other giants. So Allah was precise and accurate. 1 stone for each and every one of those giants. That's right. Yeah, man, we are precise. We are accurate. And believe you me, we're gonna knock him straight off his feet. That's right. But he believes he can hold you as a prey. The messenger told us this thinking then. That's the same thought that they have now. Except now they've been told it's time for us to move. So now you got Nato versus the Brics. Yeah, you got the black world versus the white world, and it's coming to a head because somebody has to go, and it's overtime. It's overtime. So for a lot of us, especially if you're in the black community, and I go and ask them, oh, well, yeah, you got NATO going over there in Ukraine. And they'll look at us and say, well, what is NATO? How many people in here know what NATO is? How many people in here are aware of what NATO was, what NATO was made up of? NATO is the European world that has come together. They have been told it's more advantageous for us to form one solid fist to fight against the judgment. And in the event that we win, we'll rule the earth out. And the Brics, on the other hand, is the black world. Mostly. I might as well go and give Russian credit as being black. They've always, the Savior said when he went to Russia and he looked for the black population and said, well, where are the black people here? And guess what this? Well, there's no black population. Oh, Russia didn't rip Africa off when the rest of the European countries was doing it. Russia has as their marry a black woman and a black baby. I was just giving you, well, I can tell you now. Held that to ourselves for a long time. You never know who and what Allah held that to ourselves. But we can tell you now. You better believe that those Russian people, you know what I'm saying, on your side. And then as much as they're on your side, America has decided these two we have to get rid of. Russia and China. You hear me? Go to the next video. Just to let you know. So you can see NATO. You get a chance to see what NATO is.
NATO is a child of the Cold War. When it was founded in 1949, there were 12 members. Today, the club has expanded to 30, 2 in North America, 28 in Europe. NATO is built around the principle of collective defense, which means an attack on one member is an attack on all of them. Their rival during the Cold War was the Warsaw Pact, a similar alliance led by the Soviet Union. 3 NATO members are also nuclear powers: the US, UK, and France. Together, NATO makes up around 57% of global military spending. The United States is the undeclared leader, providing 22% of the alliance's budget. NATO's power center is in Brussels. From its Cold War days, the NATO is programmed to target Russia. Today, it faces a new threat from further east, a belligerent China.
So NATO is to target who? Russia. And they said an attack on one member is an attack on what? On all of us. Can you hear it? Now, NATO is made up of how many black countries?
Turkey.
Turkey, white Muslim, but they're not black. I tip my hat to that. But how many black countries are NATO made up of? Not one. But you didn't know that the white man sat down at the table and coalesced and came together and decided that they were going to have nuclear power, they were going to have economic power, and that they were going to rule the world again for another 1,000 years. Did you? Oh, you too busy wanting to know why LeBron James was bald last week and his head jet black this week. You know about that, right? You about the latest movie that came out, about the latest bar that opened up, about the cigar lounge and smoking on the rooftop. I go around here, oh yeah, and I say, well, don't you know that NATO is really the United States of America and Great Britain that then told these other little smaller white countries? The mine is Great Britain. That's the reason why 3 planes are going to be sent to Great Britain. To bomb them. The body is who? The United States of America. That's why she gonna get the, as they say, get this work, she gonna get the majority of this work. And told other European countries, it's in your favor that you join us. And then turn around and open up the books and the prophecies and say, you don't see what they say? What you think gonna happen when they destroy us if we number 1 and number 2 on their list? What does it say? This is the end of the Caucasian white man, and his bowing out is for what? It's forever. And the mother white people, White George, what did we do? Well, you need to get behind us because we're gonna fight. Go to the next video. This is the Brics. Because this is what's going on now. NATO versus the Brics. The white world versus the black world. And while all this is going on, what are you? Right in the middle, being held as a prey. That's the only reason why the United States of America ain't been brought to its core. Right? Oh, but it's coming.
Imagine an association between some of the world's most powerful nations, the largest and most influential economies, all in one group. Perhaps they even hold annual summits in which they discuss how they cooperate to achieve their respective goals. Now imagine that the United States of America isn't in this group. In fact, neither is Germany, Japan, nor the UK. Confused? Well, don't be.
So you're gonna do all of this and who ain't in the group? Did you hear it? Imagine all this going when the United States of America isn't in this group. Because what were they told? Well, the United States of America is number 1 on the law list for total destruction. So then when it came down to, and I'll show it to you using certain currency, they turned around and said, we're not going to use the dollar anymore. There's no need in using the currency that doesn't have a future. You don't think America heard that? You don't think Great Britain heard that? You don't think that they're aware of this particular entity that's coming together to do what? To prepare a future in a world where it's not ran and dominated by the West, the United States of America or Great Britain. And what is the United States of America and Great Britain respond to that? Are you going to do this in my face? You ain't get the memo on what it is that we do and how we do what we do. So they've been trying to start a war with Russia. They've been trying to start a war with China. In fact, when the United States of America decided that they were going to go in and destabilize Syria and get rid of Bashar al-Assad, who stopped it? Russia. It was Russia, wasn't it? Wasn't it? You can just pull this up on your smartphone. When the United States of America decided, we've had enough of those Ayatollah, those garlic and yogurt eating people in Iran. We're gonna go in and destroy Iran. Who stopped it? And then all across the news, the headlines are saying what? The United States of America is no longer a superpower in the Middle East. And now Russia, the United States of America, lied to, thank you, Brother Shabazz. Told you that brother get it done. Didn't I tell you, y'all heard that music go off? Brother went and got that music turned on. Right. So I don't know, when it's time to go to the moon, we might, hey, Brother Shabazz, we need to see him up there floating around. Yes, sir. But when they got ready to destroy Syria, it was Russia that held them off. When they got ready to destroy Iran, it was Russia that turned around and said, what? You need their nuclear centrifuges to be tested? We'll test them. We'll let you know what they have and what they don't have. Do you hear me? The only reason why Gaddafi is dead right now is because they lied. Internationally, they lied and said that they were just going to have a no-fly zone. Then after they killed Gaddafi, Vladimir Putin came forward and said, well, who gave you the right to kill Gaddafi? So this has been going on and on and on. They've been trying to figure out, Zbigniew Brzezinski, one of the members of their think tank, one of their greatest thinkers who has since passed away, said to them, why are you fighting against Libya? Why are you fighting against Iran? If you destroy Russia and China, the rest of them are a cakewalk. We have no resistance other than these other two superpowers. So they said that Nato was designed based on fighting against who? Russia. And then this other belligerent that they have to the east is who? China. So NATO, the white world, you just call it NATO. It's really the white world has decided that our time was up in 1914 and our bow now is forever. So says this book, so says this prophecy. But men wrote these books. Men made these predictions. Men wrote these prophecies. Are we not men too? Do we not have a fighting chance? Can we beat prophecy? Oh, well, sure. For by God, we can beat prophecy. We read the lessons of Farad Muhammad when he came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Farad Muhammad told them that instead of getting 144,000, they wanted to beat the old prophet's prediction. So prophecy can be beaten according to them. We only have to not let them outwit themselves and we come with the right solution, and then they'll turn the trick. The thing of it is to not let this Negro go, because that's their prize. To keep him here and start the war, and if they come to us, then they have to kill him and kill us as well. Yeah, it's their conversation. It's what they're thinking about beating prophecy. It's all about you the prize. All you got to do is join the Lost Foundation of Islam, get on up, join the Afro-descendant government, strengthen your own people, and then move out the way. But instead, you want to wait just a little bit more. I need to see just a little bit more. I need to see a little bit more may lead you a corpse. NATO, the white world, has come together with the thought that they can beat prophecy. That's their thought. The Brics, who is being guided by the black world, standing there, ready, willing, waiting, anxiously waiting to tear it up. It is being aggravated because the Caucasian has said, what we can do is, because if you ever notice, there always has to be some type of pretext to war. They always have to create the problem, right? And then what happens with the people? The people react. And then what? Then they come up with the solution. Do you hear me? So now what's the problem? Ukraine. Little old Ukraine. Versus big old Russia. It's just like if you had a cane corso and somebody else got a little poodle, a little shih tzu, you got to, quite naturally, I'll say, man, you look crazy doing something like that. Wouldn't I? Wouldn't you? This big old cane corso about to get ready and gobble up this little bitty small poodle. You don't think that's the case? Pull the map up for me. See, because to tell you is one thing, but to show you is something totally different. It is something totally different. And then you'll be able to see logically, like, that doesn't make sense. And when you pull the map up, show where, make it a little bigger so they can see. Now show where Ukraine is. Where's Ukraine? Right here. You see this little small purple spot right here? This little small purple spot right here, that's Ukraine. Can you see it? Can you see it, Brother Farad? Brother Farad, he got some good eyes. People be riding past. He said, that's so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. But do you see Ukraine? Do you see how small it is? Now look at Russia. All
11 times.
do you understand? How in the world could Ukraine fight a war against Russia? It's that little small pool versus the cane corso. Now it makes sense. Did the visual help y'all a little bit better? This war has been going on for months now. Russia and the United States of America are the two strongest countries with nuclear weapons. How in the world can Ukraine fight a war against Russia? It's virtually impossible. Virtually impossible for that to take place. But we got to do those. We got to create the problem. We know y'all gonna react, and then what's the solution? Well, we got to give weapons to Ukraine. We got to get $3 billion. You giving it to them in money? You giving it to them in food? No, you giving it to them in military. So if you give Ukraine $40 billion in military weapons, behind those military weapons has to be the personnel to use them, that know how to use them weapons. Can't know anybody use those weapons. Can't know anybody fly those planes. That's the United States of America and already parked inside Ukraine. And since they parked inside Ukraine, Russia said, well, you ain't gonna hold us off much longer because they ain't gonna come over here and do nothing. We'll tear it up before we let them have it. You caught right in the middle. You still think you worried about you finna go into the playoffs. You worried about the football season finna start. You better be getting your passport ready. Because this is on and popping already. But who are you in this scenario? America's trying to dominate. Russia's saying it's not gonna happen. And who are you in this scenario? You to pray. Trying to wait, but I supposed to argue with a nigga like Geno Jenkins about what's inside of a book that he ain't even write. Don't make no, it's a waste of money. That's a distraction to me. That's a distraction to you. Where's your stake in the game? What dog you got in the game? You a prey just like I'm a prey. You a victim like I'm a victim. You a nigga like I'm a nigga. They don't respect you like they don't respect me. You don't get no justice in the courts. Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that. I'm going through that right now. Just for grins, I'm rubbing these white folks the wrong way. Oh, we heard your little rent last time, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Still about paying that little money that they want. I turned around and told the woman on the thing, it's not gonna happen. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find out if you work, we're gonna find out, and then this was a Trump card, brother. They were holding this. She came and she said, well, what we want to do, Your Honor, since he doesn't want to come forward, we're gonna have a right to discover some third-party assets. I said, okay, Your Honor, his mother owns a construction company. I said, you don't have any right to ask me about my mother. Your Honor, his mother and his father, they own a construction company. I said, you don't have any right to ask me about my mother. The judge, you're under oath. And last time the little rant you gave, because the little rant I gave last time was like, you and your little boyfriend, the judge, all get together playing games. You could have been with all this, but you all were working together. And he leaned into the camera. He emotionally talked. I started to say to him, look at your emotion. He leaned into the camera. You're playing games now. I said, I'm not playing games. She asked you about your mom in the construction. I said, you want to know the truth about me? She asked you. I said, my mother been dead ever since I was 6. My father left when I was 5. What else you want to know? Oh, well, who's Ron O'Neal? I said, Ron O'Neal, that's my spiritual brother. When he sends me some money, that money is going towards the Lost Foundation of Islam. I'm a Lost Foundation of Islam Muslim. Oh, you're playing games now. I said, no, I'm not. She had to tell him, oh, your Honor, we'll just continue. You think I'm gonna get justice in their courts? But there's an eagle who's swooping down and he's looking down at the rat, and the rat's running on the front of the shirt. And on the back of the shirt, the rat stopped running and turned around and gave the eagle his middle finger. It's called the last act of defiance. That's what I'm doing. So I might end up paying him some money, but I want them to. It's all good. We get a little money, ain't that right, Brother Farage? I got some brothers in here to make sure that the minister's all right if it needed, ain't that right, Brother Derek?
Yes, sir.
So all you gotta do is just open your mouth and I got you. At any rate, NATO, the United States of America, the white world, has decided that they're gonna kick the war off, that major war, while you're sitting. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they want to do. With the hopes that now that I have the Honorable Silas Muhammad here, the Lamb of God, now that I got Queen Mashaki here, now that I got Brother Brandon, Sister Shalonda, Abraham, Amir, Malik, Siraj, now that I got these group of wholesome, righteous Muslims here, you wouldn't dare kick it off while they're here. But we got news for you. We got news for you. In the twinkling of an eye, you can get that bell in your ear and get a message. And I'll put you at the right place at the right time and get you out of here. Just know what it is and don't get scared and don't back up. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do not get afraid and do not back up. If you're told to go to a certain place and you see men, they got a different look than the men that you see now. Yeah, they got a different look because they've been in a different atmosphere. You understand that? Yeah, they got a different look because they got a different kind of mindset. They've only been fed church. They've only been fed righteousness. They've only been fed destruction. So you're a different kind of human being. And it might be a little bit fearful to look up on them, but that's your brother here to get you out the way. You don't think we're going to unleash them brothers?
Yes, sir.
Man, you don't know who you playing with.
That's right.
You do not know who you have no idea, white boy, or who you playing with. I promise you that. And all of your planes, you got 70 military bases all over you overextended yourself. You can play it yourself for cheap. You the fool for trying to police the whole earth. You outnumber 11 to 1 by the original people on the earth. And now you're gonna turn around and say you're gonna do what? You better be trying to figure out you're gonna stop them floods from Las Vegas. It just happened again 3 days ago. All this is going on, and they're not reporting it to you. But believe you me when I tell you, when you look at Ukraine, that little small spot right there next to big old Russia. The messenger said what? When that war gets to its apex, it's gonna make Vietnam look like what? Look like child play. Go back to the Brics and listen to the reason why the white world wants to move, needs to move now.
So, who are the Brics? The Brics is a political and economic organization between 5 member countries formed back in 2009. In fact, the term Brics is actually an acronym for the participating nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The organization was originally known as BRIC, since South Africa only joined in 2010, and as a result gave the organization a presence on the African continent. So why these nations and not Finland, New Zealand or Djibouti? Well, these countries are home to large emerging economies, with perhaps the exception of South Africa, and all of them have shown high rates of economic growth in recent decades, and are expected to emerge as future powers not just on a regional level, but also a global one. In fact, the term BRIC, then just Brazil, Russia, India and China, is believed to have been coined by a Goldman Sachs employee back in 2001 as a way to refer to these large emerging markets. But why do these nations get together? What's the point of this international organization? Well, let's find out.
So they don't want the West influence anymore. Now, if I'm a person in the West that's doing it, what does that sound like to me? Huh? They kicking us out. They planning on moving forward without us. Do you hear me? We want to influence what's going on over here. A little bit further. Then I'm gonna go back to the map and show you something else.
Influence through backing each other in economic and diplomatic confrontations. So, if you're a large emerging market that doesn't quite have the influence to sway the likes of the USA or the EU, then one solution is to team up with others, and that's how we've ended up with the BRICS. The BRICS organization, therefore, is a platform in which member nations can come together to cooperate and design their own framework, one that isn't heavily influenced by Up until the now, Western the powers. BRICS have been So much more perhaps successful. you're now wondering, why should I care about about some and as of 2014 international organization institution that comprises some of the most reality. populous nations The on new the global planet. financial Well, institution in question let me tell is you the why. BRICS Development Bank, also known as the New Development Bank or the NDB. The BRICS nations' combined primary objective is to fund if they were their own country and they would be by far the most populous state with US dollars. It is definitely not a small-scale institution. That's more than 9 times China. The New Development Bank had already invested by March its economy in 2018 in more than 30 projects that of the USA, totaling more than $8 billion US dollars, with a staggering 20 in addition to the trillion US dollars. The BRICS have also set up the all numbers surrounding the reserve arrangement, by nature of the group representing which is a framework intended of the global population. And many have predicted that the BRICS nations will overtake the largest Western nations in the upcoming decades, both economically and politically, therefore being able to shape global governance as the 21st century progresses.
So not just through the economics, but also through the government proceeding processes. So what does that mean? If they can take over through the government proceeding processes, that means that when you went forth to the human rights, Commission and Council in the UN, when America had the power to shut it down, China had already used the term what? Afro-descendants, didn't they? Mm-hmm. These other countries, you know South Africa gonna have your back. You know Brazil gonna have, you know India gonna have your back. So they get together because they're saying, well, it's time for Ishmael to come home and we need to be in a position. And what your nemesis is saying, the government of the United States of America and the white, what are they saying? You think we're gonna let them niggas go without a fight? Also, they're saying what? That money that's bagged by nothing, we're gonna stop using that too. You don't think they're saying? A little bit further.
You may be wondering, what have the BRICS countries achieved so far? Where can their impact be felt? Ever since its first formal summit as a group of 5 nations in April 2011, the BRICS nations have shown their will to cooperate on a variety of issues, ranging from the need for a new global reserve currency, not dominated by these people, to the establishment of a new global financial institution, similar to the IMF and the World Bank.
What does it say? They've come together and they've made a decision that we're going to use a new currency and it's not going to be what? It's not going to be the dollar. Is that not the exact same reason that they came together to kill Gaddafi? Because Gaddafi turned around and said, well, why are we using the dollar as the standard by which we trade oil and nothing back? Africa, the entire continent should get together and use a gold dinar backed by gold. And what did they say that they'll do to the American economy overnight? Overnight, it will tank the American economy. If you stop taking dollars and tell America now you got to come with some type of natural resources, you got to come with some oil, you got to come with some gold, you got to come with, they don't have any. Now, us handful of little poor slaves, you know, we little poor slaves in here, you know, we pray we can figure that out. You know, when the man at the top heard of this and chills at this time. Go to the next video. It's better.
Russia has suggested that BRICS countries should drop the US dollar in favor of national currencies when trading between the bloc. The group of 5 emerging economies includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, as well as South Africa. Its industry ministers met this week via video conference. I'm joined now by SABC correspondent in Moscow, Lucy Taylor. Very good evening to you, Lucy. Thanks indeed for your time. So let's talk about first what was discussed during that video conference.
What's the name of the video?
Russia's call on BRICS countries to not use the dollar in intertrade.
Oh, so that's the reason why you got to go on Ukraine and fight Russia, because Russia's calling. Right here in your face. They can kick it off right in. They can't afford for you not to use the American dollar. Right? And Russia called on these other countries to come together. And then all of a sudden they said, what to Ukraine? We'll use you as a scapegoat. Once we pull this off, not only you gonna have Ukraine, but we really don't want Russia. We'll give you Russia too. So imagine this little small piece of land you got and gaining all of that. And And then not only that, but you be able to gain, the natural resources, the gas and everything they got. We can't allow these people to do what it is that they're doing, because you know how espionage works, right? They got certain people that speak Russian, probably was born in Russia, and some of them sitting at the table listening to what the Russians say, and they run back and tell America. And at the same time, you saw the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie, right? The Russians got people that sit in the United States of America that speak perfectly good English, listen to what they, and they run back and tell Russia. So Vladimir Putin said about 3 or 4 years ago, our people return home to Mother Russia. It's recorded. 3 years ago, he said to come home. Then he said at the international community, he said, the American government is not telling you the truth. He said, I do not think you understand that once we go in this direction, there's no coming back. And which direction? Because America said, what? So we'll justify is, okay, we're gonna put our missiles, but now we're not gonna we're gonna say that they were bullying you all. Then once the conflict starts, we're gonna say, we can't sit back and let them do that to Ukraine. That'll justify in the eyes of the world us sending those weapons over to Russian war. So they plan on fighting it out right there in Russia, not getting dirty over here in the United States of America. That's their plan. But when you're fighting against Russia, you're not just fighting against Russia, because Russia is a part of the Brics. And the Brics got the same idea that NATO got. What is NATO idea? If you start a fight with one of us, you can start a fight with all of us. So the Brics got the same idea. So who's a part of the Brics? China. China is saying what? If you start a fight with Russia, you can start a fight with us. Just look it up. Google it on your recent headlines. They said that North Korea said that we'll send 100,000 troops over there to help Russia fight in Ukraine. Oh, but wasn't it a thing when Trump was talking about Rocket Man and how they were going to bomb North Korea? But is North Korea really your target? Because it's impossible for you to bomb North Korea with nuclear weapons and not affect China. But you all don't know about geographics. Pull the map up again. Let me show it to you. And then look at how China and North Korea is the difference between Oak Park and the city of Chicago and Madison and Austin walking across the street. Find China for me. And where's North Korea? Where is it at? Right. This is China and that's North Korea. Look at little old North Korea. How you gonna bomb North Korea and not affect China? But the thing of it is you know if you bomb North Korea, then what? China gonna get involved. So North Korea has said to Russia, we'll send 100,000 troops over there tonight. We'll send 100,000 over there. Did you see it? The white world versus the black world, and the war has already begun, and you're sitting here as a prey. So we need to do what? Escape. Good. Good. We're on the same page. In just a little bit, we'll be on the same line. Can you see it, Brother Farad? How the talk is one thing, but then to look at that map and say, how could America, why is North Korea, they all the way over on the other side, at the edge on the, why is America messing with them? Telling them what? We need to come in and look and see if you got nuclear weapons. And what did Kim Jong-un say? You need to come and look. I got him. He ain't got to ask. You ain't got to do nothing. I got him. So if you need to, if that's what you're trying to find out, I'm going to ask that question. We need to send somebody over here to inspect. You will not come over here to inspect. And Dennis Rodman, who used Dennis Rodman? The United States of America. Said Kim Jong-un, he liked this black man. And you don't think Dennis Rodman probably was mic'd up? You don't think Dennis Rodman, they probably had a wire up under his skin? You know how Americans play. They searched him for everything. They got the wire up under his skin. And North Korea probably wrote something down and had him looking the other direction and said, you mic'd that brother, it's okay to say, yeah, all you gotta do is just nod your head. Rodman looked at him and was like, I'm just telling you how it goes. I'm telling you how this war is going. This is a war that's being fought right here. The only reason why it's not hitting you directly is because you're inside of the center of the storm. You're inside of the eye of the storm. Well, all on the outskirts is being tore up. Somebody Google for me right now how many lives have been lost in this Ukrainian war today. And listen to how ugly this is. These are real lives being lost. These are real people who are no longer coming home. And Russia, they're being reserved as to the kind of weapons that they use. Because I guarantee you, Russia got some bombs that knock Ukraine off the map.
Did you hear me? We'll break them right in half.
Fatalities, 14,200 killed. Another 3,404 killed civilians. And 4,400 killed in United Nations.
So that sound like about, that sound like around 21,000. 21,000 dead. More than 21,000?
It's about 32,000.
About 32,000 dead. And what? And counting. 32,000 dead and counting. And why is this taking place? Go to, so I let you hear that particular part. I let you see the proximity of North Korea and China. I let you see the proximity of Ukraine and Russia, and how it's impossible for you to park your weapons in Ukraine and Russia not respond. How many of you all know that this is what that's about? It's about America parking their weapons in Ukraine, and I showed you where Ukraine and Russia were right next to each other. And Russia saying that you're not going to do that. And the United States of America saying, yeah, we're going to do that because you're talking about a future without us. You're talking about not using the dollar. You're talking about having geopolitical, financial influence on the rest of the earth and not us. We ain't going to allow it to happen. And then while all this is taking place, we're being told, come on, black man, come on, black woman, come on, y'all escape. Like when Samson was pushing and the pillars were getting ready to come down. And once his hands was in the right place, what did Samson tell the little boy? Leave, go. When it started and things started to come down, Samson, I appreciate you for putting me in it, but leave. And that little boy had to escape. It's the same way with us. You're in that kind of situation right now. You can't see it, the pressure being put on the pillars. You can't see it coming down. A little bit farther from the video. Just a little bit farther from this one. And then I'm gonna let you hear, because some people think I'm embellishing the facts. So I'm gonna let you hear Putin say himself that this is what it's about. And then you'll know a little bit more from the other video.
Well, this is Russia trying to challenge the control of the financial markets by the United States. These 5 countries, as you said, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are the Brics group. And they were set up more than 10 years ago now as a bloc to try to challenge some of the power and control they perceived the United States and European countries to have over the world, including over the financial systems. And there's a way to step out from under those countries and start to work together to do that. And one of the things that they've been criticized over the years for perhaps not working together and not doing as much as many people thought they would or hoped they would when they were first set up. But one of the things they have done is set up this new development bank, a bank between the 5 countries and open to others as well. You might remember that South Africa, it approved a $1 billion loan to South Africa in June to help with some of the socio-economic effects of the pandemic, for example. And Russia is suggesting that this bank can be used as a way to encourage more non-dollar payments. So effectively, when you're trading with another country, to invoice that country in rand or in rupees or in rubles rather than in dollars, as a way to lessen dependence on the US dollar.
And instead of, when we're dealing with each other, saying I need some gas from Russia and I need some silver from China and I need some, and instead of us saying that, okay, let's use the dollar, they're saying, why we gotta, because you do know right now the standard at which oil is being traded by is the dollar. That idea between Brazil, India, Russia, China, and South Africa, where is most of the natural resources?
in those countries that I named. Isn't it? Think about it. So they're saying, we got it to trade with each other. I can give you gas for your silver. I can give you gold for your rubber. We got it. But what about America? So that can present a real problem, King. And not only do we have it to trade with each other, but guess what else we got? Russia said, we're a nuclear country. So that's not an issue. We got the power. North Korea said, we're a nuclear power. That's not an issue. We got the power. China says, we're a nuclear country. That's not an issue. We got the power. Is India a nuclear power? Yes, sir. India have nuclear. So out of those 5 BRICS countries, about 4 of them are nuclear power. Do you hear me? Now, when you go to NATO, only 2 of those are nuclear power. Oh yeah, they well prepared. That's why I told you Allah's the best of plans. Oh, they well prepared to knock it off the map. Yesterday, in North Korea, they got a commercial with a man dreaming and the missiles being sent to the United States of America. Got a commercial. He just dreaming like, oh my God, yes. Did you hear me? I'm just trying to paint the picture. The black world versus the white world, the showdown has done what? It's coming to a head. Messenger said, message to the black man, page 297, 3rd paragraph. I hope you remember what I said to you concerning the prepared destruction by Allah for this people, and you who take part with them. You who take part with them, I think we've already told you. Messenger says, since they already have a head start, they believe they will deceive you. What's their thought? That they're going to deceive you. Believing that you got all kind of time. It's not what happened in your lifetime. It's not taking place. It's not true. And well, that's the reason why I'm using this information to back up the words of the Lord thy God. It's strong that judges come. They believe that they will deceive you and going along with them, ignoring the call of Allah and your own salvation and heaven at once while you live. That's what we're offering. Heaven at once while you live, salvation for your women and children. And instead you want to believe the United States of America, when the United States of America don't believe themselves. They say these are uncertain times out of their own mouth. What are they to you? If they uncertain times to your boss, then what are they to you? Your boss is the one that sat down, do the planning, write up the economics, write up the schedule, do everything to make sure that you have grocery stores to go to, that the bus is running, that the train is running, that there are planes, that there are logistical places to get you to make. Somebody decide that. You just get up in the morning and go fall into it. I gotta go grocery store, go to the gas station, like mice in a maze. But somebody designed that maze. Go to the. I hope I got. If I keep you a little longer, we'll make up for last week, but we'll probably still be on time. Go to the next video and listen to this yourself. I want you to hear him say it out of his own mouth.
You have talked a lot about security guarantees, and now we've seen your proposals. You also say you have no intention of invading Ukraine. So will you guarantee unconditionally that you will not invade Ukraine or any other sovereign country, or does that depend on how negotiations go? And another question, what is it, do you think, that the West does not understand about Russia or about your intentions? Thank you.
Speaking of the security guarantees and what it will depend upon, or if something will depend upon the negotiations, our actions will not depend on the negotiation. They will depend on the unconditional compliance with the Russian security demands today and in the historical context. In this sense, we have made it clear that any further NATO movement to the east is unacceptable. There is nothing unclear about this. We are not deploying our missiles over at the borders of the US. No. On the other hand, the US is deploying its missiles close to our home, on the porch of our house.
Did you hear that? So now you know the real reason, don't you? Somebody came with some other, I forget exactly what they said, some other crazy story about what's going on. What did the man just tell you?
He said, we ain't deploying our missiles on the border of the US. They putting their missiles on our porch. And you're gonna ask me, am I gonna attack Ukraine when America turn around and sending billions of dollars worth? What you gonna do with those? When you get them over here, what are you gonna? But this is taking place because the Brics, and what did he say? He said NATO. And her second question was what? What don't the West understand about you? Well, what the West got to do with what's going on over there in Ukraine? Let me let you in on something. Let me let you know how frivolous the entire act is. I'll let you see NATO in the beginning and the countries that it's made up of. Don't you know that Ukraine isn't even a part of NATO? Ukraine isn't even a part of NATO. America, you have no business in that, none whatsoever. So starting with one and starting with all, you ain't even a part, they're not even a part of your organization. Yeah, now look a little bit different though. Now I doubt if I see any one of you flying around with the flag talking about support Ukraine. A bumper sticker on the back of support Ukraine.
Putin is evil.
Putin is evil. For what? Support Ukraine for what? Ukraine isn't a part of NATO. Ukraine is neighbors with Russia. Lived in peace with Russia for years. What went on that you all couldn't sit down at the table and talk? That you had to go all the way over to the United States of America to ask for their help? Or is something else going on? Is it the white world versus the black world coming to a head? Is it the fact that Russia, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa have all decided that the white man time is up? We waited long enough on Mr. Shabazz. We gave him enough leeway. The stay of execution has been long enough. We got to move, and we got to move now.